FPL Watchlist video where I'm going to share 15 players that I'm keen to include in my first draft once the FPL game launches. Let me know in the comments who will be the first name on your team sheet, and make sure to leave a like, get this one up to 500 likes, and subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Hoping to hit 35k for game week 1. Let's get into it. When I've come up with this initial watch list then, I've been keen to include players across the positions. So I've picked out 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders and 3 forwards. Now, this isn't designed to be a full 15. I doubt it would be affordable, but there's some key criteria that I'm looking at when I'm picking players for my FPL team that are going to make this watch list. The first one being, I want the bit to be stability at their club. There's a bit of a manager merry-go-round in the Premier League at the moment, which puts me off certain players. I'm also looking for players that are having a full pre-season under their belt. Now, this isn't very easy to achieve because we've got the Euros, which are currently ongoing. We've got the Copa America. We've also got the Olympics that some people are going to be attending as well. So there's a lot of players that maybe will be coming into this season tired. We've seen at the Euros a lot of tired legs, not really the performances from the players that we'd expect. So it's all players that I'm strongly considering, but it also depends on what price they come in at when the game goes live. So, but it's nice to have a plan, pick out players before we've got all the noise of fixtures, pricing, all of that stuff, and just think about which players do I think have got the potential to start the season really strongly. Now, I tend to look in any team for established Premier League players, not those that are new to the Premier League or clubs that have been promoted. And we've got the fixtures now as well, so we can bear in mind positive opening fixtures as well. But we do need to be aware that the transfer window is open. There's quite a few players on this list where there is a bit of speculation. They could be at a different club come August when the Premier League kicks off. So that's all something to bear in mind. Starting off with goalkeepers then, and the first one I've picked out is Fulham's Bernd Leno because he's got so many routes to points and his numbers from last season were pretty incredible. He finished 3rd on points with 133. He kept 10 clean sheets, which was the 4th of any goalkeeper in the game. 2 of those coming in the last 6 game weeks as well. He was ranked 4th for saves with 134 and 3rd for bonus points with 15. So, you know, even if he's not keeping clean sheets, he's maybe accruing the save points and the bonus points. And Fulham have got some fantastic fixtures, possibly the best fixtures of any club over the first 4 game weeks, including facing 2 promoted sides, Leicester at home in game week 2, Ipswich away in game week 3. Now, he started last season at 4.5, finished at 4.8, so he could potentially have a price increase and come in at 5. But if he's at 4.5, then he's probably going to be straight in my team. Another goalkeeper whose price I'll be looking closely for is Manchester United's Andre Onana. Again, plenty of routes to points. He was 3rd among goalkeepers last season, level with Leno on 133 points. 9 clean sheets, ranked 5th among goalkeepers, and he was top for saves with 149. Now, it's crazy to think that the Manchester United goalkeeper would be top for saves, but they conceded so many shots on their goal that didn't get blocks in that meant Onana was very busy. Now, if Manchester United's defence improves, obviously they had a lot of injury last season, which didn't help, and key personnel coming back couldn't help. That maybe dents Onana's appeal. We tend to go with goalkeepers from mid-table clubs that have got those wealth of options for points. If, you know, those save points are going to go down, then it will make him less attractive. So I'll be looking at what happens at United in terms of defenders in the window. But I think Leno and Onana, one of those, very likely to be in my first draft as a potential goalkeeper option. Moving on to defenders on the watch list, and Arsenal's Ben White. I was disappointed not to see him involved in the England setup, but it certainly helps from an FPL perspective when he's had a full summer off. He finished last season as the top performing defender in the game, 182 points, and that was helped by 9 goal involvements, which was 5th among all defenders, including 4 goals, ranking him 2nd in that category. He did benefit from a few early substitutions, meaning he finished ahead of other Arsenal goalkeepers who, He did benefit from some early substitutions, meaning that he finished ahead of some of other Arsenal defenders who have had quite busy summers at respective international tournaments. But it's certainly going to be exciting to have a slice of that Gunners defence that kept 18 clean sheets last season, including 8 in their last 10 games. Pretty incredible. How much will he be? That's the big question, because he started last season at 5.5, went up from there as well. But certainly looking at a couple of Arsenal's opening home fixtures against Wolves at home in game week 1, Brighton at home in game week 3. He's a pretty attractive prospect and straight on to the watch list. I'm also keeping an eye on Spurs' Pedro Porro, who was snubbed from the Spain squad. He finished 4th among defenders last season with 186 points. 11 goal involvements was the most impressive though, second among defenders, including 8 assists. All 3 of his goals actually came in the last 10 games of the season, which is a sign that hopefully a little bit of a tweak in the Spurs formation really helps him to shine. He was top for shots among defenders across the entire season with 53. And second for big chances created with 14. He does offer a little bit of set piece threat. It tends to be Maddison that dominates, but he does provide a little bit of an alternative, particularly when we've seen Maddison's minutes curtailed by injury. The thing that's most concerning though, that it was only 7 clean sheets for Spurs last season, which does dent Porro's appeal a little bit, and I am expecting him to go up in price, having delivered so much from an attacking perspective. The fixture's a little bit mixed for Spurs to start the season, but I don't think that matters. You're not necessarily picking Porro in your FPL side for clean sheets. It's his attacking threat, and that can happen against any team. Now, they're the 2 big ones, but there are some other defenders that will perhaps come in a little bit cheaper that make the watch list as well. Crystal Palace were rejuvenated under Oliver Glasner at the end of last season, and Tyrant Mitchell playing out of position as a wing-back was certainly one that caught the eye. 5 goal involvements, 4 clean sheets in Palace's last 7 games shows that upturn in form, unbeaten in that spell as well. I think he could probably go up in price, but maybe not. I think Palace finished 10th. He could stay at 4.5, but it tends to be that late season form that does force price increases from the power that be at FPL. But looking at West Ham in game week 2, Leicester at home in game week 4, there's a few nice fixtures there. You can maybe rotate him with another cheap option if that is something that is possible. One option where we could see a little bit of a defender rotation is looking at Everton's James Tarkowski. Like, I would normally just say Jared Branthwaite would be the one to go from the Everton defence, but he is rumoured with a move away from Goodison Park, which does cause some concerns of how good will that Everton defence be, but we know what Sean Dyche teams are like. It's all out defence. 13 clean sheets from Everton last season ranked them 7. 5 clean sheets in their last 10 games as they managed to secure safety. And I know Branthwaite's maybe more attacking, but Tarkowski was very good last season. 8th in terms of defenders for shots in the box with 22. 8th for big chances as well with 5. And it's those early fixtures, isn't it? Brighton at home game week 1, Bournemouth at home game week 3. A nice little dovetailing there with the easier fixtures that we can choose from for Tyrant Mitchell as well. And another name to add in the frame, probably not one to go for given the early schedule, but Bournemouth's Senesi. 9 goal involvements last season, 4 goals, 5 assists, pretty impressive from a centre-back. And a decent number of clean sheets as well from the Cherries, 8th for clean sheets with 9. I think he's a player that could definitely see a price hike to 5 million, but they're the players that I'm looking at on this watch list in the defence. I particularly like the look of White and Porro, but obviously price will be everything there. And Mitchell, Tarkowski, if they can come in cheap enough for a little bit of a defender rotation, then I'd be all up for that. Moving into midfield then, and Spurs' Heung-min Son was 4th among midfielders for fantasy points last season with 213. Double digits now for goals and assists in 4 of his last 5 seasons. Definitely wasn't his best season. 5 goal involvements in the last 10 game weeks. He is the talisman of the side, and he is on penalties for now. But will Spurs sign a new number 9? That's something we need to wait and see on. Positioning will be key as well. I think he'll probably come in as a midfielder again in the game, but there's a chance he could move to forward. The Spurs' first 2 fixtures, Leicester away, Everton at home, seems like a nice starting point though, and he'd probably be a premium player worth considering. Looking elsewhere in midfield, at Arsenal we've got Odegaard, who could be an option. I think a lot of Arsenal's main first 11 have been out on international duty, so it'll be difficult to see how strongly the Gunners season will start, and certainly in that 4-3-3 towards the end of last season we did see Odegaard deeper, but I don't think that should put you off. 2 goals and 4 assists in the last 10 game weeks, but 19 goal involvements for the season was a lot less than the previous season, but he is so creative. 3rd for key passes in the game with 102, even though he wasn't dominant on set pieces by any means, but a summer off for him will definitely help with a couple of nice home games in those first 3 game weeks. And because he kind of dipped from his performances from the season previous to this, I think maybe he will be an Arsenal player that could potentially avoid a big price rise. Looking at some potentially cheaper midfield options, one that's caught my eye is Nottingham Forest Morgan Gibbs-White. There was rumours that he could maybe leave the City ground in the summer, but it looks for now like he's set to sign a new contract and pledge for his place as the star man who dominates on set pieces across the board. 12 assists last season, puts him 3rd among midfielders, and he finished the last 9 with 2 goals and 5 assists. He was quite pivotal to Forest staying up and having another Premier League season. Very, very similar returns to the previous season. I think he matched the exact number of goals and assists, and I think he was only a couple off in terms of points. So you'd think that he should stay at the price point he's at the moment. And great first 3 fixtures: Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, and Wolves at home. So as a 4th or 5th midfielder, depending on formation, I think he could be a really good pick. Another one is Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo. He's a player that Liverpool were linked with early in the transfer window, but I think Brentford have put a massive kind of transfer fee on him, which has put suitors off. And if Tony leaves, which is rumoured to do so, that could be a boost for Mbeumo, who would be across set pieces, including penalties. He's got a 100% record for the Bees from the penalty spot. He started last season so strongly, 11 goal involvements in the first 15 game weeks before picking up an injury, which left him out for a long, long time. He did okay on his comeback though. 7 games, he got 2 goals and 3 assists. He should hopefully avoid a price hike, given that he was a bit part player for last season. Crystal Palace at home in game week 1, Southampton at home in game week 3. Definitely fixtures to keep an eye on. Now the wild card in this midfield setup would probably be Spurs' James Maddison, another player that started last season really strongly, 3 goals, 7 assists in 10 game weeks, picked up an injury and never really returned to form, which ultimately meant that he missed out on the England squad as well, which I'm sure he's pretty gutted about, and may mean that he's got a point to prove going into this season. He did play a little bit deeper towards the end of last season in the 4-3-3. 2 assists in the last 10 game weeks, so we need to really keep a close eye on his pre-season form and his positioning, because we want him to be in that 10. But if Spurs sign a number 9, maybe Son moves into the 10 role, it's something we need to keep an eye on. I think he could potentially be in for a price drop after a disappointing season. Leicester away, what a first fixture for him against his former employers though. That's pretty mouth-watering. I definitely won't go with 2 Spurs attackers in my squad for game week 1, but Son and Maddison, both, we can put cases forward for both to vie for a place there. Finally, looking at forwards, and Erling Haaland, he's had the summer off. He'll probably be a huge lock in most squads. He actually finished 5th for points last season, 217, second to Watkins among forwards, but he did secure a consecutive golden boot, 27 goals for the season, and his numbers from a goal threat perspective are better than anyone else's. Top for shots with 121, shots on target top 59, big chances top with 55, XG 29.57, and 10 goal involvements in his final 8 appearances definitely was a confidence boost as well. In a season that was a little bit injury hit, that meant that he got 9 less goals than the previous season. He looks to be a firm captain from game week 2 through to 4, with Ipswich at home, West Ham away, and Brentford at home. I've got my eye on the Bournemouth striker Dominic Solanke. Whether he's still a Cherries player come game week 1, we don't know. He's a potential target for Spurs, but he was the 3rd highest scoring forward in the game last season with 175 points. Definitely his breakout Premier League season. We knew his potential. 19 goals is an incredible tally, and his underlying numbers were just as good. He was 3rd for shots with 109, 2nd for shots in the box with 97 as well, and he finished with 4 goals in the last 10 games. Now the problem is he's definitely going to get a price increase, and the opening fixtures aren't looking the best for Bournemouth, so it depends. If a transfer has gone through for him, then he could be one to watch, but I think with speculation he could be one to avoid. Another player that looks attractive but has been linked again with a move to Arsenal is Newcastle United's Alexander Isak. It looks like there's big contract discussions going on for the Magpies, and Isak will be firmly a Newcastle player for game week 1. He was the standout player though among forwards, certainly in the last 10 game weeks of the season. 77 points. He was 4th in terms of points over that last period. 10 games, 9 goals, 4 assists, 18 big chances created, topping that metric. And they seem to find, Eddie Howe, a happy medium with Isak and Wilson up top in a 2. In terms of points per 90, because it was a season where Isak was not available all season, he was 2nd to Haaland with 6.83 points per 90 among forwards, which is an impressive tally. He was also 2nd for XG at 20.22 and big chances with 40. So there's bags of potential there. Certainly Isak and Solanke will be really vying for a spot in the front line alongside Haaland once the game goes live. But again, how expensive are those players going to be? There's the completed squad of 15 watch list players then. These are 15 players that could very well end up in my first FPL draft once the game goes live. I want to know in the comments who's going to be the first name on your team sheet. Do let me know, and make sure you hit that like button. We're going for 500 likes, and subscribe to the channel. Check out memberships as well. This video is likely again going to be a members early access one, so if you want that extra content sooner, this is what you need to do. Click that join button. Thank you for watching.